took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no, I didn't.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizenat video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Watson says budget trucks and military-style vans were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
Shalom, peace. I would like to give all praises to Yahweh, Baal Hashem, Yahushua, Baal Hashem, Rakakadash, the bonus of the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace to the hopeful that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. So what can I say? We all knew it would come to this point. Well, at least, those that are privy, because it wasn't just going to stop with so-called Latinos. It was eventually going to make its way to everybody, and that includes so-called blacks. So here we have it. You have U.S. citizens being detained by ICE, and they're so-called black people, and really this is a violation of people's rights. I mean, that's just what it is. So the fact that they have these agents deployed, and not just Chicago, but other states around the country as well, is a sign that they're preparing for a nationwide takeover. Or if not that, then they're preparing for an emergency to where they're going to have to bring in martial law. And they're just working out the logistics of it. So with that being said, this is Isaiah 10:1 in the NLT. What sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws. They deprive the poor of justice and deny the rights of the needy among my people. They prey on widows and take advantage of orphans. What will you do when I punish you? When I send disaster upon you from a distant land? To whom will you turn for help? Where will your treasures be safe? And the Most High is getting ready to judge Babylon. He's getting ready to judge this place, and his final judgment is going to come in the form of war and the missiles. That's why it says he will send disaster upon you from a distant land. So one country that comes to mind is Russia, and also their allies. And then the scriptures also say that the EU, really the UN, they're going to turn on America as well. So again, that's going to be the final judgment in the form of thermonuclear destruction. Verse 4, you will stumble along as prisoners or lie among the dead. But even the Lord's anger will not be satisfied. His fist is still poised to strike. So again, the Most High, he's angry, and this place has a judgment coming to it. Next scripture, because we've also been warning about this as well, Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble. Everybody that's so-called black, Hispanic, Native American, they're going to be involved. And it's not even going to just be that demographic of people that I named that's going to be involved. It's also going to be the other nations as well that are going to get caught up in that wrath. Jacob's trouble is also going to be Eve's trouble. Because as this system goes down, everybody's going to go down with it. So that's why you really can't hold on to the ideology of the American dream or trying to build a life here. Because if you do, it's not going to end well for you. You know, you have to be willing to give up everything on this side in order to receive salvation. And really the only way you're going to receive salvation ultimately is if you're of the elect. So as for us, as for the Israelites, we don't really care, man. Just hurry up and do what you gotta do. We're waiting for the system to crash and burn, because we don't have a dog in this fight. You know, you never wanted us to be included here anyway. Hence why there's always been slavery, Jim Crow, race discrimination. They got rid of DEI, right? So there's never really been a foundation for us to prosper in America. And what little that we had to fight for it. You know, we had to take it. Or it was just given to us by, you know, the welfare programs and things of that sort. But now you're seeing how this administration is making cuts to those programs. They're getting rid of Section 8, cutting EBT, right? They're even cutting Medicaid. So these is all social nets that not even just everybody relied on, but you know, also Jake, especially Jake women. You know, Jake women, they've relied on the system for years. Remember how a man couldn't be in the household in order for a woman, a black woman or Hispanic woman to qualify for Section 8? That was all done by design. So this is Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So this is a day that we have coming. And we're not far off from it, the way things is looking. Because for this type of stuff to be going on, you know, within this land and just, you know, going against the laws, it should highlight that this is the precedent that's being set. If they can get away with doing this, then there's really no limit. I mean, really, deploying ICE into people's neighborhoods and then just detaining whoever, that's not lawful. So let me get another scripture. Let me see, what is it? Oh no. Isaiah. Isaiah 36. Isaiah 36 and 6. Lo, thou trustest in the staff of the broken reed on Egypt, wherein if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him. And that Pharaoh king of Egypt modern days is the man who's in office right now, the orange man. So you really can't have trust and faith in this system. Every promise he made, he broke. He lied, or he deceived you. You know, he said he was gonna deport migrants. Well, look at the effect that that's had on the economy. You know, the migrants are the ones who work the hardest. They work in farm agricultural job positions that really Americans don't want. And so that's having an effect on farmers' ability to reap their harvest. And if they can't reap their harvest, then the food's not going to make its way onto the shelves in a timely manner. Therefore, the farmers aren't going to make any money. So if they can't make any money, then they're going to go bankrupt and have to forfeit their land. But hey, people get what they vote for. So you really can't feel sorry for them. Furthermore, we see what's going on with the government shutdown. Usually, they have a plan in place that stops it from being shut down. But this time around, they didn't have a plan in place, so we're gonna have to see how long this lasts. But if you ask me, they're just moving in a direction where they're trying to starve out the American people, trying to get people in a precarious, desperate position as possible, so that when they roll out their digital system or the MOTB, people are gonna feel like they're gonna have no choice but to take it. Because just look at the way that the economy is functioning. They're talking about it's gonna be a collapse very, very soon, the way things is looking. So this all ties into Jacob's trouble. You know, people remember the 2008 crash and how that may have affected them. Well, they're talking about the next crash is going to be much worse. And just think how it comes at a time when Americans are drowning in student loan debt, credit card debt, housing is at an all-time unaffordable rate. Look at the cost of rent. Look at the cost to buy a house, just to get in and buy it. Never mind the interest rates. Look at the cost of groceries. I mean, I can go on and on. And so the guy that people voted for, he said he was going to help all of this. He was going to stop this. Your gas prices was going to go down. But what happened? None of which he said was going to happen happened. So people were deceived ultimately. But hey, I will say this. He did say he was going to deport a lot of people, right? And he did just that. But what positive effect has that really had? I mean, so what? That just makes the people that support MAGA happy? These people, they're so blinded by their hate that they don't even realize who the problem is. And it's really the elites. They're the ones who run things. They're the reason why there's no free healthcare, or why they're printing the dollar at an infinite rate, and it ain't worth what it used to be. They're talking about since they took the dollar off the gold standard, which was back in like what, the 70s. The dollar has lost 96% of its value, roughly. And now they're talking about since, that guy got inaugurated, the dollar has been steadily losing its value by 1% each month. So the dollar has lost roughly 11% since November. So let that sink in. So I'll end it on that. Hope y'all find this video edifying. Peace.